So very good morning all. Welcome to this railway industry specific training. IRIS certification ISO TS 2163. Today's topic is on requirements management. This is one of the mandatory process in IRIS certification. If you are already aware about IRIS certification process, or your organization is already certified for IRIS certification, or you are in the process of implementing this ISO TS 2163, you might have aware about there are 5 mandatory processes in IRIS certification. One is project management, then requirements management, that's for today's topic. Design and development is the other mandatory process. Then control of externally provided processes, product, services, that is another mandatory process. Then the production and service provision is the other mandatory process. There are 5 mandatory processes in IRIS certification. When I say mandatory process, those are the process mandated by IRIS certification conformity assessment rules, technically IRIS rules. So one mandatory requirement is this requirements management. We have conducted an online survey in LinkedIn and our Twitter page. What are the topics you would like to hear on this industry specific free trainings? So there are 2 topics which is leading in the surveys with respect to railway industry. One is KPI. I think we have had this session previous weeks. That KPI training session is already recorded and which is available on our YouTube page. I think I have shared the link to all the participants who were registered this training. And today is the second topic, requirements management. Okay, so before going to the session, I'll start with my company introduction. Then I will take you to the training program. My voice is clear to you all? Am I audible? Let's hear from the participant. You can interact me through this chat box. I'll be watching your comments there. Am I audible to you? Yes, thank you. So this is what all about us. We are into management system consulting services. We are more into sector specific standards, automotive industry standard IATF, aerospace industry standards, AS 9100 series of standards, 9100, 9110, 9120, even aero engine standard, AS 13100, NATCAP accreditation. We do services for aviation, space and defense industries. For railway industries, of course, IRIS certification. And there are medical device industry specific standards we provide services. So multiple sector specific standard. We are providing training, consulting and auditing services. So this is what all about our organization. About myself, I'm Karthi Tyagarajan. I'm practicing this management systems for past 15 years. I'm more focused towards sector specific standard. My core area into this 3 area. Aerospace standards, medical device standards, railway industry standards, and automotive standards. This is my core area. So I'm qualified auditor for various management system, including AS series of standard, ISO 13485. So this is what all about myself. So let's move into the session. So today's agenda, what is the purpose of this training? Why we are conducting training this? And what is this requirement management in IRIS standard? When you see requirement management, it includes the tender management requirement. So we are going to cover both the requirements. What is there in ISO TS 22163 related to requirement management, and what is there in ISO 22163 related to tender management. I think this tender management may be completely new to the other management system. Whoever implemented, practiced the other management system like aerospace standard, other standards. For you, the requirement of tender management may be completely new. Whereas railway business, it is that, right? You are many of the organization who are dealing railway business in our country. They are more familiar with this process, tender management. But IRIS has its own requirement with respect to tender management. And end of the session, we have a Q&A. Even during the training also, if you have any specific questions or doubts related to this topic, you are always free to raise your queries. You can put your queries in the chat box. I'll be watching you. And I would like to take this training into a more interactive way. So during this session, I'll be asking a lot of questions to you. So I need your response. And also I'll be sharing some online link, so that understand the whole topic clear way. So pre-training, there are some evaluation we will do. And post-training, will we do some evaluation. Even though it's a free training, so everything can't come free, right? So I need your time and attention. So that's what all I need from you for this particular training program. Okay, so let's hear from the participants. Look at this. Do you think the word requirement management or the requirements management process, do you think is it part of ISO 9001? What do you say? You can put your response in the chat box. Do you think ISO 9001 talks about this requirements management? Basic standard, basic quality management system standard, ISO 9001. Do you think whether it talks about requirements management? Okay. Everybody says yes. Right. Of course, IRIS, that is why we are attending this training. How about AS 9100, IATF aerospace standard, automotive standard? There, do you see the requirement management is there? Okay. Yeah. So I could see only yes. Very good. How about this tender management? Have you seen this requirement anywhere in ISO 9001 standard? Tender management. Yes. So that you can't see such requirement in other management system standard. Of course, IRIS, there is a requirement tender management. So either it is a requirement management or tender management. Typically, who is doing that in your organization? Which process? Who exactly dealing this requirements management, tender management in your company? So you have a marketing department, okay, they deal with this. Who else? Who else do you think part of this requirements management? Okay, sales, okay. So some company named this department as marketing, sales, business development, right? R&D also I could see there are some players, R&D players also responding this process, right? Okay, even I could see procurement team. Okay, you are responding through your chat boxes. Okay, projects, right? Yes, that's another process I have heard now. So you are considering projects also part of this activity. Okay, you included procurement here. Very good. Great. See, when you say requirement management as a process, tender management as a process, then who will be the process owner? In IRIS, ISO TS 22160, there is a clear requirement. You have to determine the processes. It is not just determining the process. You have to be very clear who is the process owner. No, you all said, yes, we have a requirement management as a process. Then who is the process owner, first of all? There are various players involved in this activity. But who is the process owner? Which name comes to your mind? Okay, who will be the process owner for process owner? Remember, there is one particular class in IRIS standard. If you are already IRIS certified company or you are implementing IRIS, you aware about one particular class 4.4.3 in IRIS standard. What it says? It asks you have to document your process. You have to communicate that process and ensure people are aware about this requirement management, tender management process in your organization. You have to train the people on this process, ensure they are understood the process, ensure this process is being applied and people are following the process. And you have to ensure the business management system requirement and regulatory requirements are complete. So there should be a process owner. So who is that functional lead to deal with this requirement management? If someone asks this question, okay, who is your process owner for requirement management? Do we have a defined roles and responsibility for this activity? Okay, there are multiple players involved. I'm not denying that. But who will be act as a process owner? Because there is clear requirement, you are well aware, 5.3.2 in IRIS. Again, one more requirement. Responsibility authorities of process owners. So this is very crucial. So maybe end of this training, you get some clarity. Okay, who will be act as a process owner with respect to requirement management, tender management in your organization? You should have that clarity. That is one of the intent behind this particular topic, why we have listed this topic in our survey. Fortunately, it has become selected topic, majority topic. People are wanted this. That's why we are having this training session. Okay, so let's move into the topic, requirements management. So before proceed further, typically all my training, I always start with a survey, right? So let's start with a small pre-training, right? So I'll be sharing a Google form right now in the chat box. I request all participants, please respond to this. So what is your present understanding with respect to this requirements management? So I'll give you 5 minutes to do this. I have shared a link. Can anyone please confirm the link is working for you in your device? The link is working for you. Can you please confirm? Thank you. Yeah, for some of the participant, the link may not work because your IT system doesn't allow to access Google Form. In those cases, you cannot access this. For other players, it is working. Yeah, so I'll give you 5 minutes. Now the time is 10:45. So try to finish this before 10:50. So try to answer these simple questions. For others, it's okay. You try different browser, Amol. Maybe your mobile have a default browser. Copy that link, paste it in Google Form or Chrome browser. It may work. I'll be sharing the link one more time for you. So these are quite interesting pre-training questions. This question is purposefully designed to understand this requirement management, tender management process in a better way. So I won't disturb you further. So you just focus there. Yeah, thank you. I have already received 10 participants have responded out of 35 participants. In all my trainings, I'll wait at least 50% of participant has to finish this exercise so that I can continue this session. So now I need 4 more responses. Yeah, for some people, the link may not work because of your IT systems. I'll be sharing, someone requested the link again. Okay, so out of 36, I have received 15 responses. So let's wait for 2 more responses at least. Yeah, thank you. So we have reached the threshold. Now let's try to hear from the participant. What do you understand, or where you stuck when you attending this particular pre-training questions? Whether this questions are looks familiar, right? There is no rocket science here. What is the order and sequence when it's come to requirement management, tender management process? Because a lot of terminologies, right? We are hearing like RFQ, EOI, RFI, order review, quotation, tender, order acceptance, order acknowledgement. These are the typical terminology we use in our day-to-day business processes. But which comes first? What is the sequence? That's very important. People who are exposed to this process, they are well aware about it. People who are already dealing this activity, they know which comes first, right? What is the sequence and all. But look at the second important question. Who are all involved in the contract review process? That's another important question. Many organizations who are all certified for IRIS certification, they are well aware about that who needs supposed to do this contract review. For other management system, some of the management system mandated that contract review must be performed by the cross-functional team or multidisciplinary approach. But unfortunately, what happened many times, many organizations, the contract review is always dealt by the few limited people, not even the cross-functional team or multidisciplinary team is involved in that. It will be always done with one or two departments. But standard made it very clear that there are multiple players. When I asked the initial question, who is the process owner? I think you have reflected, you have almost responded to all the processes what I have listed there, right? So out of 35 participants, I have received 17 responses. So what I'm going to do now is let's share the responses to you. Look at this. So I have got 17 responses. And these are the different things. Let's focus only this particular important question. Who are all involved? Typically, it's who. Who are all involved in this contract review process? Don't you think your top management is involved in this? So let's respond the response. How many people have selected top management? So out of 17, 9 participants believes that contract review, top management should involve in this contract review process. Look at the score. Who are the poor score here is, look at this. Only 7 people, only 7 participants have considered quality team and R&D team in contract review process. And most of them, majority says clearly, it is a sales and marketing team, project management team, right? And of course, sourcing. At the end of this training, you can be able to, I try to conduct the same exam after the training, we could see some change in results, right? And this is another important question. Tender management, requirement management are same. No, it is not same. That is why we have 2 different requirement in IRIS standard, correct? Right? So why it is not same? Again, when we walk through the session, you can able to understand what it is. And this is very important questions. Who are all the stakeholders involved in contract review process? Yeah, I think I got most of the people have responded here. But the consideration with respect to statutory bodies, regulatory bodies, suppliers, again, it's scored, low score, right? So you have to focus whatever there is a low score when it's come to the role of quality team, the role of R&D team in contract review, the role of regulatory bodies, the role of suppliers, their requirement in the contract review. This has its own weightage in IRIS certification process. When you walk through the requirements, you will get some more better clarity in this. Yeah, this is very clear requirement. Before accepting the order, we need to do this contract review, right? Not after accepting the contract, before accepting the contract. That is a basic QMS requirement. You could see in all management system standard. See here, this is a bit confusing terminology. That's why we got split almost 50%, right? We got a different opinion here. Before determining the requirement, we need to submit the tender or quotation. See, I could see 8 people have said, without determining how you will do your costing, how you can give your commitment. Don't you think when you have to submit the quote, before determining the requirement or after determining the requirement? Tell me. Let's hear from the chat box. When you need to determine the requirement, is it before submitting your quotation or after submitting your quotation? When you want to determine the requirements? When? Look at the response. Look at from our participants. Almost 50% have responded. I am agree. You cannot determine all the requirement during quotation stage, right? You need some more clarity. You have additional requirement. You know, you are not completely clear about the technicalities, right? Those things may happen in other sector, but when it's come to railway business or some of the sector specific standards, what we are discussing, right? Aerospace standard, automotive standard, medical device standard, any standard, they made it very clear. And still Mr. Arshit believe after. Why is that, Mr. Arshit? What goes wrong? Without determining the requirement, if you submit the code, what is the risk to your business? What is the impact to your organization? What could be the risk? What could be the consequence? It may affect your cost, your delivery commitment, your quality commitment. So there are various factors involved, right? Okay, so that's what all I would like to see. I could see only 50%. So I have reached the threshold out of 35. So I could only consider 35 participants because I'm also included in the list. So I could see 50% have responded. Other 50% may have some difficulties accessing the form. I'll agree. They are not interested. Why these people are every time sharing some link? Why I have to attend and all. So don't worry about it. This is part of our free training process, having these type of things. So we have to manage that accordingly. Okay, so let's go back to the presentation. So this requirements management, what exactly it is? Because we don't use this terminology requirements management, right? Wherever we go, we use call it a sales process, marketing process, business development process, contract away process. These are the general terminology used in the industry. We all know how complex this railway business is. Plenty of components goes into it. And most of the integrators, system integrators like Alstom, Siemens, all the big integrators, Bombardier, now Alstom, right? They are highly depending on the supply chain, right? Most of the components, the rolling stocks are made by the supply chains. It is very important. The entire supply chain is clearly understood. What are the product requirements? What are the process requirements to assure the quality and control the entire rolling stocks? So for that purpose, IRIS have a separate provision with respect to requirements management. They make it as a mandatory process. If you are an organization who are practicing IRIS certification, or if you are an organization who are planning to go for a railway business, your customer is expected that you should have a requirements management process. In every requirement management, there are three possibilities. In every requirement, there are three possibilities. One is the requirement, whatever your customer says, those are already clear and it is applicable to your company and you can apply those requirements. This is one scenario. The other scenario, there are clear requirements given by your customer. Those are all applicable to your company, but you cannot fully apply those requirements. So you need some deviation in that. For example, your customer may say, my supplier must have IRIS certification. You are making a rolling stock. IRIS certification is applicable to you, but right now you don't have a certificate. So what you will do? You will get a deviation. Okay, you will give some commitment. Okay, next 8 months, next 12 months, or next financial year, I'll be moving for IRIS certification. So you get the small deviation there, right? And there is one more condition. Sometimes the requirements are clearly mentioned in the contract, and it may not applicable to you, or you sometimes consider it's only partially applicable. In those cases, what you will do? You won't get deviation, you will get exemption. And all this exemption, all this deviation must be accepted by your customer. So these are the three possible outcome of any requirements review. Do you agree with me? So the first option is There are some requirement. It is very clear, applicable to you, and you are applying, you are complying. And there are some requirement, you cannot fully apply it, but where you get some deviation. Who has to authorize this deviation? Customer. And there are some requirement which is not applicable to you. For example, most of the railway contract, they have a RAMS requirement, right? I think people who are all aware about this particular railway business, they know what is this RAMS, right? Reliability, availability, maintainability, safety, right? RAMS requirement. Do you think this RAMS requirement is applicable to every industry in the supply chain? Tell me. That's one example. RAMS requirement, do you think applicable for everyone in the supply chain? Everyone in the supply chain. When I say supply chain, it includes integrators, OEMs, component manufacturer, rolling stock manufacturers. I know many organizations who have excluded this RAMS. They say it is not applicable. Many organizations already certified for IRIS. But you have to justify why it is not applicable to you. You have to get exemption from your customers. Maybe you have a corporate office, they will take care of RAMS. Because you all know IRIS is site specific. Your site is only into manufacturing. The RAMS is handled by the another site. So those people, they say it is not applicable. The contract is awarded to you. But whereas the RAMS class is managed by the other organization or some organization, the contract itself don't call for RAMS. How many of you are aware about, how many of you have got received requirement, RAMS related requirement from Indian Railways? Have you received any such requirement from Indian Railways? Forget about metro projects. I'm focusing only on Indian Railway projects. So far, have you received any requirements related to RAMS and LCC? Tell me, have you received any such requirement from your Indian Railway customers like ICF, MCF, RCF? So far, have you received any such requirement? Let's hear from the participant. Can you please respond in the chat box? Do we have any such requirement from your customers? Yeah, they will simply say refer RDSEO. Correct. So in some cases, that is why we have to be clearly understand every requirement, whatever the requirement mentioned in their inquiry, in their contract, in their drawing, in their specification. There are three possible outcomes. One, it's applicable to you. Second one is it is not fully applicable or partially applicable, but where you can get a deviation. And there is another option. It is not applicable to you, and you can completely get an exemption. In every tender, there is an exemption clause, right? If you are people who are dealing tender, they will aware about this exemption. So while tender stage itself, we need to say, okay, these clauses are not applicable, or these are the deviation I need from this. The timeline deviation or certification deviation, a lot of deviations may be there. So in requirement management, one of the important part is we must have a process, we must have a procedure within our organization. How we are going to deal with this deviation and exceptions. And it should be agreed by your customers, and this should be documented. Simply we cannot say we have a meeting with the customer, there we have discussed this, and all these exemption deviations are accepted. Very good. But what we need? Proof. So it should be documented. There are multiple ways to document it. Every company, some customers may ask you should submit QAP. Some customer may ask you should have a compliance matrix. or some equivalent documents. As part of your requirement management, your company, you have a process or procedure. How you are reviewing the requirements, how you are compliance, how you are doing compliancing all these requirements, right? Sometimes customer have their own procedure, own their process, it are directly applicable or indirectly applicable to your company. So your procedure or your process should address that, how you are going to fulfill those requirements. And those requirements are not only applicable to you, you have to properly flow down this requirement to your supply chain. Flow down this requirement to your supply chain always matters. Because those requirements not only applicable to you, those requirements applicable to the entire contract. Some portion of the contract, if you are outsourcing, ensure you are flow down those requirements to your supply chain, right? And whoever the parties involved in this contract, everyone should understood. So the best way for this requirement management is have a proper two-way communication methodology. And there should be a procedure. That's what I initially asked the question, who is responsible for this activity? Who is going to review the contracts? Who is going to accept the contracts? So you must have a clarity in this regard. Okay, let's try to answer these two questions. Now tell me how the customer requirements are communicated to you. How? When I say you means your organization. You said, no, in my company, I have a sales department, a marketing department, R&D, they will deal with customer requirements. So how the customer requirements are communicated to you? What is the mode of? You may have SOW, okay. Drawing, specifications, very good. Mails, okay. What else? Tender documents, right? So tender documents. So there are a lot of ways, right? How you will get your customer requirements. Now I'll put the question this way: how you will communicate the requirements to your suppliers? Yes, there may be contract, correct? That is another way of communicating. But how you will communicate these requirements, not all these requirements, applicable requirements to your suppliers, your supply chain. So this is what I use the word two-way communication. Yes, again, you will issue PO, you will issue RFQ, right? Or you will issue. How many of you have a supplier quality manual? Some document like this, supplier quality requirements or supplier quality manual. Do we have any such document for your suppliers? Yeah, through supply chain management, correct. Don't you think this SQM or SQR, this is also from your customers? I've expected someone will say that, okay, customer requirements are communicated through various forms. It is not, because whatever you said, these are all more related to product requirement, correct? Remember, customer requirement is not always on product. There may be additional requirements also. So try to understand that. When I say the customer requirements, we are focusing only to the product. Correct? That's what the example what you have quoted so far. But there are a lot more additional requirements maybe there. Similar way, you have to communicate to your suppliers about the product and applicable, whatever the lot more, whatever applicable to you, that you have to flow down, right? So try to have this effective two-way, defined two-way communication process. So you got customer requirements, you got tenders. You will issue the customer issues the tender, you will receive the tender. Internally, what you will do? You will distribute, you will obtain the tender, you will access the tender to various portals, online portals, right? You distribute the tender to the team members. It is not one team is going to review because the tender may have a lot of requirements. The tender may have a technical requirements, commercial requirements, RAMs requirements. So you have to involve multiple teams here. They will review. During reviewing tender, you need some clarification, right? You need additional information. You have to negotiate with your customers. As we discussed, there are three options, right? Some of the requirements directly apply to you. Some of the requirement you need deviation. Some of the requirement you need exemption. So remember, there are plenty of requirement, product requirement, quality requirement. After all this clarified, once you got a contract, then again you have to review the contract and accept it. Then after you got the contract, you have to flow down the requirement to your sub-tier suppliers, wherever you are doing outsourcing activity. And after that, any amendment in the contract, again you have to repeat the same. So there should be always a two-way communication. So based on these requirements, you go back to your customers. So there are multiple players involved in this activity, right? So this is the effective risk management process. So what this process is, how this process goes. First, customer defines the need and concept of the product. These are all customer role. Whatever the gray color boxes we are seeing in this particular picture, those are all customers' roles. Then what customers do? Customer may issue RFI, RFP, RFQ, whatever you want to name them. Then if any change is needed, and they will do a change management activity. These are all from your customers. And what do you do in your company? This is what exactly your requirement management process fits into. Your tender management, requirement management. And flow down this to your suppliers. So your requirement management should capture both the way of communication. So many times what will happen, most of the time, we'll be focusing only here. This is rarely focused area, I could say. Now, can you able to connect this with the ISO class numbers, IRIS certification class numbers? So this class, where exactly it fits? Which class number do you think it fits? You could see 8.1, 8.2, project management, tender management, requirements management, and customer feedback. And where exactly this fits? Again, your project management, tender management. And this is quite interesting class number, where exactly it fits. This is your entire 8.4. And of course, as part of project management, you have to consider this. So this is the connection of this requirement management within the ISO TS 22163. So let's try to understand some of the terminology. What is the requirement actually? Requirement can be stated or implied. We all know that. Typically, requirement is a need. Expectation or obligation. We all know aware about this terminology. Needs and expectation of interested parties, right? Class 4.2 of every management system talks about this. So typically, those are all requirements, right? And also it's obligation. Obligation means a mandatory requirement. You have to comply, right? Sometimes it can be stated, sometimes it can be implied. So consider both. Requirement can come from your customers, suppliers, regulators, or other interparty. Anywhere the requirement may reach you. Even certification body have their own requirement. Your corporate may have their own requirement. Your railway business management system have their own requirements, right? So the requirement can come from anywhere. But when you say requirement is stated, it should be always in document. Typically, implied requirement is nothing but a need and expectation. A common practice, right? Like customary protocols. Most of the time, implied requirements are understood by both the parties. But when you say requirement, remember the word implied also applies there. It is not only the stated requirement, implied requirement also. And there are different types of requirements: quality requirement, customer requirement, management requirement, product requirement, regulatory requirements. A lot of requirements are. So which requirement we are discussing here then? Tell me. The entire training program what we have on today is on requirement. Which requirement? Now tell me, I have listed a lot of requirement here. Which requirement is important, critical? Tell me. Which requirement do you think it's very critical? Whatever the list requirement listed here. Yes. That is what this requirement management is, not just customer requirements, product requirements. Right? Many times what will happen? Most of the time the contract review process focusing only on customer requirement, product requirement, stated requirement. But what is missing many times? The implied requirements are missing in many IRIS companies. Not only IRIS companies, even other management systems standard also, I could take an example. The implied requirements are not properly focused. Quality requirements. When you say quality requirements, this is not the product quality requirement. This is QMS requirements. That is not properly focused. Even of course, the regulatory requirement related to the product, those are all not properly focused. So try to understand this particular terminology. What is requirements? So what we are discussing in the requirement management means fits all this. Now, can you please try to answer these questions? I always, in all my trainings, I'll always use these two terminologies when it's come to requirement management. Who defines it, who delivers it. If you can able to understand this too, then you can be a master at this requirement management process. So let's try to answer this question. Who defines it? Okay, this is what quality system requirement. Who defines it in your organization? Who defines quality system? This is not product quality. Remember, right? We are talking about quality system, QMS requirement. Who defines it? Top management, customers, okay. MR, okay. Cross-functional team, QMS requirements, okay. Design team, QMS. Do you think QMS requirement, quality system requirement? Now I got. There are some ISO standard, right? Sometime in addition to ISO TS22163, your customer may have some additional requirement. That is what they call it as supplier quality manual. Now, can you able to connect this? This is what quality system requirement. Do you think top management is deciding this? Do you think design team is involved in this? Do you think CFT is involved in this? Who defines? Defines means who dictates. Okay, this is what I want. So it can be a standard bodies, customers. They define, okay, this is what the quality system you should have. Of course, the top management decides whether we need to go for IRIS or not, right? I agree. Now, the next question, who delivers it? Who is going to comply this? So I'll put this way in simple terms. Who dictate and who complies? Now tell me, who has to comply this? Okay, there are some QMS requirement that my customer asks. There are some supplier quality requirement. Who has to follow that? Who has to ensure that is being followed in your company? In your company only you have to do it. In your company, who will ensure that? Who will ensure? Who will comply that? Okay, whatever written in this, we will ensure that is being followed. Everyone is involved. Entire company only, but who is the responsible person? Do you think? The quality system requirement. Again, IQC will take care of only Product quality, other two incoming product quality. You're talking about a system, quality system. There Mr. Verma captured. We have appointed a person for this, correct? Don't you think MR is dealing with this? I'm pretty sure MR is responsible for complying the applicable standard. But how about this? This is quite interesting requirement. Your customer quality requirement. How many of you aware about this supplier quality requirement? Which means technically it is customer requirement related to quality system. For example, Alstom, they have their own document, supplier quality requirement. Even most of my clients who are attending this training, they have their own requirements, supplier quality requirements, right? Let's assume you have issued your supplier quality requirement to your suppliers. In your supplier organization, who deals with this? So do you think MR is aware about this? MR has to ensure whatever written in the supplier quality manual is need to be followed. So these are the questions we need to ask. The next question, how? So there your quality management system, procedures, processes, everything comes. Is that clear? So try to always answer those questions. Who defines it and who delivers it? Now come to customer contracts requirement. There is no question. Who defines it? Customer. It's come from customers only, correct? But within your company, who defines it? Okay, this is what our customer wants. This is the delivery time. This is the packaging standard. This is the RAMs requirement. This is the functional requirement. So who defines it and who delivers it? Always ask this two questions when you deal with the requirements management. Because after reviewing this only you can be able to know, can we able to meet this contract or not? Product technical requirements. Then applicable regulatory requirements. And there will be a lot more additional requirements you can have as part of your organizational process. But the important key question what you need to ask here is, who defines it and who delivers it? And that will ensure you are identifying the requirement, you are complying the requirement. Clear? Let's throw some lights on requirement management related things. The next terminology what I would like to address in this session is review. What exactly review is? Can anyone tell me what will be a review? What is the purpose of review? Tell me. What? Because we do review in every management system. Management review, we all know that, right? MRM, we call it as management review meeting. What do you mean by review? Review is an activity. There is a purpose for every review, correct? The purpose is very simple. For every review, there is an objective. Are we capable to achieve those objectives? That is the purpose we are doing review. Contract review. Are we capable to deliver the contract? Capability, correct. Mr. Janas. Capability. The key word in every review process is capability. So who has to say that I am capable? Yes, to ensure customer requirements, my machinery is capable. To fulfill the quality system requirement, my ISO system is capable. To fulfill the regulatory requirement, my compliance is capable. So you have to ensure the capability. Yeah, resources are adequate. So during review, what we need to do? We need to ask these questions, each question. Whether the requirement is suitable, adequate, effective, efficient. This is the purpose of conducting management review, right? If you remember this class 9.3 in every management system standard, what is the purpose of management review? To ensure your QMS is adequate, effective, suitable, correct? Same thing. Ensure you are doing this. And there are different type of review in your company you do. We all know this management review, since it's a shell requirement in every management system standard, you do this management review. And there are design and development review. Again, you are well aware about this. Then contract review. So these are all mandated by standard itself. Even ISO 9001 asks this, correct? But in addition to that, there are program review, project review, risk management review, quality review, industrial review, NC review, MRB. Aware about this? Material review board. Do you have such board in your company? Sales review, quality review. Every company having their own review meetings, KPI review meetings, right? Lot of review meetings you have. So the purpose is very simple. Are we capable to achieve the objective? The present status is suitable, adequate, effective, and efficient. This is the some of the term I would like to touch before entering the subject. And there is one more important thing I would like to say is stakeholders who are all involved in this requirements management. A lot of players are involved. We use the word interested parties, right? In 4.2 in any management system. Similar way, they are the stakeholders. Stakeholder can be customers, investors, regulatory bodies, suppliers, consultant like us, suppliers, subcontractors, tenderers. A lot of players are there. Stakeholder may be within your company or outside your organization. But each stakeholder having their own role in the requirements management process. For example, customer. What is the information you are expected from your stakeholder? Customer has to give you the business requirement, correct? Regulators, they have to give license, approvals. And your internal stakeholder, design team, R&D team, purchase team, sourcing team, right? They have to ensure the technical feasibility. So every stakeholder having their own role. So you have to identify who is the key stakeholder. This is what the word I have used, process owner. So who is the key stakeholder in your requirement management process? When you say key stakeholder, who has the decision to approve or disapprove a contract? Now you have received a customer contract. A lot of people are involved in the contract review process. Who has the final authority to say, okay, we can accept the contract? No, we can reject the contract. Now tell me, who has the authority in your organization? Contract review process. Who has the decision power? Tell me. Top management, very good. But do you think top management is involved in every contract review process? It can be top management, fine. But make sure whatever you are saying, are you following? If marketing head is not in station, if top management is not part of those contract review meeting, then tell me who has the authority, who is having the decision to approve or disapprove a contract. You have to ask all these questions in your company, in your process. Clear? It can be MR, it's up to your organization. Do you think MR is technically sound to accept a contract? The contract have a lot of conditions. Remember that. The tender may have plenty of requirements. See, how many type of requirements you have seen? QMS requirement, product requirement, regulatory requirement, quality requirement. Assigned. Yes, now I got this terminology. Now, Mr. Ashit, I have come to that point. Who is that assigned person in your company? Ask the question. Yes, it can be a project manager. It can be a sales head. Even it can be a top management. Nothing wrong. Prove it. You have to prove it. How you will prove it? Address in your procedure. Ensure your format is designed in such a way the person who is approving, accepting the contract is clearly identified, and these people are involved in that. That is why we use the word key stakeholders. If any disagreement in this review, again, we have an option, right? Ask for deviation, ask for exemption. The role of key stakeholder is they have to resolve conflicts, right? Within the company or external company, they have to discuss and negotiate and conclude. So this is what all about some of the insights before reading the standard. Straight away, I'll jump into the standard and read the English, what is written in the standard. But before that, you should understand this background. Up to this, any questions, doubts, please? We spent almost 1 hour to understand what is this requirement management process. Still, I have not touched the standard. So far, what we have discussed, is that clear to you? Now you understand what is the importance of this particular requirement management process. Okay, if you are all with me, please type Iris in the chat box. Let's try to understand who are all with me, listening with me, watching with me this session. Yeah, Mr. Rajesh, RAMS LCC is a separate topic. I don't want to mix that in this session, right? This is purely requirements management. Thank you. So now touch the standard. See, the word requirements management is reflected various places in the IRIS standard. Various places. What are the places? 8.1a. Do you remember any standard if you take 8.1, what it says? Can anyone remember what exactly 8.1a? Whoever attended my internal auditor training, any standard, if you are attending any of my internal auditor management system trainings, you might have understand, remember now what is this 8.1 is. 8.1a is. What is 8.1a? Can anyone just recall and try to, in any management system, 9000, AS, IATF, IRIS. What is this 8.1? What it says? Operational planning and control is the 8.1 class. 8.1a precisely talks about requirements for products. Correct? Requirements for products and services. So typically it is a product requirement. That is what 8.1. You have to determine the requirement. And in IRIS standard 8.1.2a precisely says tender management includes, your tender management process includes requirements management. Initially I asked the question, is the tender management and requirement management both are same? No. So one of the activity, the tender management process has a lot of activity. One of the activity is this requirements management. There we have see the then exact, this is the exact requirement of requirements management. Entire 8.2 is nothing but determination of requirement related to product and services. Review the requirement related to products and services. So the entire 8.2 customer communication, everything is what we call it as requirement management. So this is what the connection in the standard. So let's see this. Can you able to tell me what are the steps do you think you need in requirements management process? Steps. What is the first step? What is the second step? What is the third step? In your company, what are the steps do you think in this requirement management? Major steps. You need not to go micro level. Macro level, tell me, can you name some 4 important steps in the requirement management process? What is the first step? What do you think the first step? First step, you should have a customer communication, correct? Do you agree with me? RFQ, RFI, you are communicating with your customers, correct? The first step is communication. A initial contract, whatever you want to call. Communication with customer, correct? That is the first step. Then what is the second step? Determine the requirement. What exactly customer want? There are a lot of requirements we have seen now. Determine the requirements. Very good. The third step is review the requirements. Very good. Then the last step is any changes happened. Now, can you able to connect with the class number 8.2.1, 8.2.2, 8.2.3, 8.2.4? People who are exposed to this class number, they can able to connect the dots. Tell me how many of you are able to recognize these numbers and connect the dots now? Tell me. Anyone in this participant? If at least a few people have responded, I would be more happy on this questions. This is what entire 8.2 talks about, right? 8.2.1 class, what is it? Customer communication, right? 8.2.2, what it says? Determine the requirement related to the product. What 8.2.3 says? Review the requirement related to the product. And what is 8.2.4 says? Changes to the requirements for product and services. Correct? Do you with me or not? These are the 4 steps, correct? Yeah, thanks, Ganesh and Sumana and Mr. Munuswamy and Meenakshi. Thank you. Now, this is what requirement management process. This is what the process. It is not something new or innovative thing. Innovation management is a separate process. If you initially I have listed that also as a topic, but that is a should requirement. Nobody voted for that. Anyway, so this is what the requirement management expects from us. Now I will open the IRIS standard and show you. You can simply connect the dots. Why so much of confusion? Look at this. So what 8.2 says? Look at this. So this is what the first step. What is the first step? 8.2.1 customer communication. What is the second step? Determine the requirement for product. Then what is the third step? Review the requirements for the product. What is the fourth step? Changes. If you do all 4, that is requirement management. Nothing more, nothing less. IRIS have some additional requirement too. Whatever we have seen, it is ISO 9000 requirement. Basic ISO 9000 requirement. Clear? Is that clear? Now, so let's see what is there. This is what standard simply says 8.2.1, 8.2.2, 8.2.3, 8.2.4. If you do all, that is requirement. So let's see what is there in the standard. In simple English, you are well aware about this. You are reading this many times. You have reviewed this many times. You have been audited by these requirements by many times. So let's interpret in this way. First of all, you must have a process. That is the basic requirement, right? Have you documented these requirements? How you are going to deal with your communication with customers? Communication with customer must include, you have to provide information related to product and services. Tell me how you will provide information about the product and services. Tell me what is the communication you have with your customer, how you will share the product information. Let's assume you are into a product company, you are not into service. So try to restrict the word only with the product, right? So let's don't get confused with the word services. Now tell me, what is your product? How you will provide product information to your customers? What is the methodology you have? What is the way you have in your company? This is also part of your requirement management. What is the methodology you have? You have a data sheet, very good. What else? Product catalog, brochures, websites, company presentation, right? There are multiple ways you are communicating with your customer about your product information, right? Now tell me who is going to prepare, who is going to review, who is going to approve the adequacy in the product sheet, adequacy in the data sheet. Who is owning this data sheet technically? If you want to revise the data sheet, if there is any changes you want to update. In the manufacturer, who? You are the manufacturer, right? But who is dealing that in your organization? Many times what will happen? Marketing team, IT team. IT team is updating the websites. Now I tell you, just simply go to many big rolling stock companies, look at their product category. I could see many obsolete products are just listed there. The outdated products are listed there on the site. So you have to have accurate information, right? Yes, whatever engineering says, whatever R&D says, that should be reflected there. How many of your, what is the review frequency of your data sheet? What is the review frequency of your company presentation? Don't you think is it required to address somewhere in your system? No change, no review. That is a standard answer wherever I will get. This is another good answer. Till next change. When you will know next change? Next change maybe next 5 years or next 10 years or next day. Anytime it may happen, right? So have an effective risk management process. Ask all these questions. Yes. Now Mr. Verma is connected. As part of process review, you can have a lot of review meetings. I said a lot of review meetings you have within your company. You can try to connect this as one of the agenda point. Try to do it in any other review meeting. What I want is address in your procedure. You did not to answer me and convince me. You have to convince your system. That is very important. Clear? That's what 8.2.1a simply says. So that has a lot of meaning. How you will provide information relating to your product. Those information should, when you say simple information, it should be accurate, adequate, relevant, latest, all those information you have to comply. Clear? That is what we are expecting in requirement process. Then who will handle inquiry, who will handle contract, who will handle the contract amendments, right? All these things should be handled which as per further class 8.2.2, 8.2.3, 8.2.4. That is what we are going to discuss hereafter. Correct? This has IRIS has its own additional requirement, 8.2.5. In addition to that, we have 8.1.2 tender management, inquiries. Correct? So how to deal with this? There are some requirement in the standard. Accordingly, as per that requirement, we need to do. So many companies say we have a Salesforce, we have ERP, we have SAP that is handling everything. You can handle it, nothing wrong. But whether you are a Salesforce or your ERP, is it in line with these requirements? That is the question we need to ask. Then C, what C says? Obtaining customer feedback, including complaints. So remember which class? 9.1.2, 10.2. You have to connect the dots here. How to deal with customer satisfaction? There is a separate class. When any customer complaints comes, how you will react? There is a separate class. You can consider even 8.7 also, product non-conformities. See, standard gives you a way. See how beautifully the standard is designed. This product information, as you mentioned, engineering gives this. What basis engineering will give? As per 8.3.5. What is this? 8.3.5 design and development output, right? Whatever the design is freezed, whatever the design document you have released, that is what your product information, that should be the latest information, that should be the accurate information. So nothing is new here. Whatever you are doing in other process, you have to reflect, you have to follow this. So that is the beauty I like in this management system standard. And B, we have already connected various class numbers. How to deal with the tender, 8.1.2. The further subclasses of 8.2.2, 8.2.3, 8.2.4, and 8.2.5. And feedback, we have a beautiful separate class in 9.1.2. And complaint, we have a 8.7 and 10.2. So don't get confused with these numbers. I'm just trying to connect the dot. If you want, take a screenshot. Later you open the standard and read it. You need not to be expert to understand these numbers. Very simple. How to deal with customer property? There is a separate class, right? Which class number it is? Customer property, 8.5.3. Sometimes free issue materials will be there. Customer delivered their product. You do some value addition into it. Or you will go and install at customer site. You are working at a BEML site, or you are working at ICF site. And there you are handling customer property that needs to be handled accordingly this class. And any specific requirement for contingencies. So contingencies, risks and all you are captured in which class? So I leave this slide for a few minutes. You can take screenshot if you want. You can take photograph if you want. Later you can refer standard and thank me if you can able to connect the dots. So standard itself tells you how to do it. These are all ISO 9000 requirement I'm talking. It's not IRIS requirement. This basic ISO 9000 itself have this much clarity within the standard. Is it clear? So you should have a simple customer communication process. How you will communicate with your customer about product, about your inquiries, orders, right? How you are going to deal with customer feedbacks, how you are going to deal with customer complaints, how you are going to deal with customer properties, everything you have to consider. Then look at IRIS specific requirement. IRIS has one additional requirement. Out of the box, whatever you are seeing in the standard out of box, those are all IRIS specific requirements. What it says, you must communicate to customer when delays. When there is a delays are foreseen, you cannot avoid those delays. You must communicate this to your customer. Now, this is very much relevant class on this COVID situation, right? On this COVID, everyone knows that there are lockdown, there are some restrictions, there are nationwide lockdown, partial lockdown, right? There are various reasons you cannot be able to meet the delivery requirement. There will be some delay. And this delay cannot be avoided. And have you communicate those delays to your customers? One example what they are given is delay from your external party. This is only one example. There may be a lot of additional delays maybe there in your company. Your machine may be getting breakdown. You may not have a spare parts. Now automotive industry is now they have big shortage of semiconductors, right? Chip shortages. Similar way, there are multi of business risks you have. One of the risk is delay from your supplier. There will be other delays related to your technology transfers, related to the raw material availability, related to your company internal machine availability, lot of reasons. So try to have a process how you will identify these type of delays. If any delays is you have seen, how you will communicate to your customer, how many days in advance you will communicate this with your customer, who will communicate this with your customer, everything should be part of your customer communication activity. Clear? This is what 8-to-1 customer communication process. And most of the customer communication is handled by a limited team members, right? So try to ensure though they are aware about this. And 8-to-2, determine the requirement related to the product. So you have to determine the requirement related to product. This is what we have seen in 8.1. And this is further you are clearing in 8.3. What is that? Design and development, output, input, everything is part of this. You have to clearly say. In 8.3, you are doing various things. Product related, this is specific to product. While specific to product requirements, you have to consider, is there any regulatory requirement for the product? Is there any additional requirement I needed for my business? And you have to meet the claims. Remember, you have made data sheet, you have made a product brochure, you have made company presentation, whatever you are mentioned in that, you have to meet that. You have to meet the claim. You cannot simply say our product is 100% efficient. You have to prove it. Where is that? How you claim it is 100% efficient? Some companies say mileage. Some companies say energy efficient. Some companies say within 1 hour you can reach the yield. Whatever you are claiming, you have to prove it. This is ISO 9000 requirement. In addition to that, while determining the requirement, you have to consider what is that? Functional, non-functional, and integration requirements. This product, whatever the product I am dealing, it may be HVAC, it may be a control panel, it may be a lamination bus bar, whatever it is, it may be a PCB board, whether this product has any functional, non-functional integration requirement. Who has to ask this? Which stage you have to ask this? While determining the requirements, even RFQ stage, you have to ask this. Is there any RAMS LCC requirement for this product? That's what it may applicable, it may not applicable, or it may be partially applicable, whatever. You have to ask. You have to review. That is the whole purpose. You have to determine. By doing this, you have to consider your previous product experience. You have to consider previous tenders, previous projects. From that, what is the experience you have gained? Consider that. And based on the market analysis, consider the requirements. And very important key requirement is obsolescence requirement. This obsolescence management is a separate topic because this is directly connected with the RAMS LCC. You have to look at the regulations. Some regulations doesn't allow few technologies. For example, you have cadmium plating, and some regulators have restricted that. And what is your methodology? Everything should be done at which stage? When determining the requirement for product, that time you have to consider all these things. Is there any critical product characteristics? If any such thing is there, how you are going to deal with that? And what is the requirement related to end of product life? Again, this is directly connected with the LCC. Now tell me, do you think all these requirements are only reviewed? All these requirements can be reviewed independently by sales marketing team? They can do it alone, all these requirements review? Whether they can determine all these things? Whether your customer have mentioned in the contract or not, it is your responsibility to ask your customer. I have received a tender, I have received an inquiry. Is there any functional requirement? Is there any integration requirement? Is there any RAMs requirement? You have to ask, you have to determine. Clear? Now tell me, your requirement management process has all these requirements. How you will determine? Tell me. Standard simply gives you a checklist. These are the checkpoints, mandatory point. You have to determine how you will determine this. Now, question is how? What is mentioned in the standard? What are all to be determined? That is there in 822, 8221. Now, tell me how you will do this. Do we have any format or template for this in your company? What is the outcome? What is the evidence you have for this? Can anyone tell me how you will determine this? Checklist. Very good. What is the name of the checklist in your company? Every company having their own methodology, right? Some company do this as a feasibility review. Do we have any such system? Feasibility review checklist. CBC review. Very good. But let's assume your CBC must have all these class, your checklist. Right? Yeah, you may call it as a feasibility review, technical review, compliance matrix. It's your choice, but clearly ensure your checklist, whatever the review you are doing, you are reviewing all these points. These are all IRIS requirement. This is shall mandatory requirement. This is optional requirement. It is better ask. Don't simply give me a format. This is what feasibility review I do. Ensure your feasibility review are addressing all these points. And in that review, you understood each and every requirement. What is functional, what is non-functional, what is integration. You have to ask your customer and determine. Or you have to ask your designer and determine. Is that clear to you? These are the first two phases. One is customer communication. Second phase is what exactly your customer wants. What exactly the product requirement. Now come to the next requirement. Review. Okay, once everything is clear, what is the next stage? I have to review it. What to review? Again, there is a beautiful checklist given by standard. When you have to review, remember this word. Before accepting any contract, before accepting any order, before accepting any agreement, what you need to do? Review. What to review? Again, requirement specified by the customer, including delivery, post-delivery, requirement not stated by the customer. Some requirements may not stated by your customer, like functional requirement, RAMs requirement, LCC requirement, that may not be in the contract, but it is your responsibility to ask. I will always ask this question. Okay, how many years you have to retain the record for railway project? Tell me, how many years? Tell me, how many years you are going to retain the record for a particular product, for a particular customer? What is the life? End of the life means what is the end of the life? It is 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. How many years? Who has to decide it? Don't you think your customer has to decide it? Okay. When you receive a tender, when you receive a contract, it is mentioned in that document. If it is not mentioned, it is your responsibility to ask. Read this requirement. if it is not stated by the customer, but necessary for your business, right? So this is what you have to ask. And there are a lot of requirements specified by your company. You have your own checklist, packaging requirement, logistics requirement, insurance requirements. You can ask a lot of additional requirements and any regulatory requirements. I have given some requirement in my proposal. This is my lead time. This is the LD class, right? But if you have, the contract comes with a different requirement, so you have to review it. So you have to clearly say all this requirement must be accepted, confirmed by your company before. Look at this. There are 2 times we are using the word before. Before committing to supply the product, before accepting the product, before accepting the contract, you have to review. This is ISO 9000 requirement. Now what IRIS says, of course, you have to review a contract review document. That whatever the review you do, whatever the results of review, you should document it. And changes. Any changes happened, repeat it. Ensure any changes happened, relevant persons. Look at this requirement, how beautifully they have written this. Ensure relevant documents are amended, relevant persons are made aware about the change. What will happen many times? Marketing team will receive the change, they will accept the change. But before accepting, what they have to do? Review the requirement. Then only accept. Now, once it is accepted, update relevant documents, update the work order, update the drawing, update the specification, whatever needed. Then ensure relevant persons are aware about the change. Just because you amend the document, sometimes people may not say, they may consider the old document. So that's why standard made it very clear. You have to do 2 activities. Ensure relevant documents are amended and relevant persons are made aware about the change. This is typical ISO 9000 requirement. Now come to IRIS. IRIS has an additional requirement. You must have a procedure, first of all, a documented process. How to manage these requirements? What requirements? So far, what we discussed. How you are going to manage these requirements? Whatever we discussed so far in 8.2. Ensure design and development for new product or design and development of new services, whatever you do is meeting the expectation. You have to have this process. This process talks about tender activity. Tender management, they are referring again which class? Our 8.1.2, tender management. Then how will execute the project? Project management. Any changes happen, how you deal with the change management, all these things. So requirement management is a big activity. You are dealing the requirements, you are dealing the contract, you are dealing the project, including amendments. This can be, look at the note, what they say, this can be included in the project management process. So as part of project management, you can consider this. Project scope management, right? That you can consider this. And look at C. Who has to do this requirement management process? It should be done by a multidisciplinary approach, including internal, external stakeholders. That's what I have included 3-4 slides related to this word stakeholders. Don't consider stakeholders always internal stakeholders. Where relevant, you have to involve your suppliers. Where relevant, you have to involve regulators, customers, your corporates, right? There are various parties are involved in this, not only your internal team. And don't say sales only reviewing it. MR is reviewing it. Nothing wrong, they can review, but you have to ensure they are competent. There is one more requirement, IRIS comes to that. And what you have to do in this review, requirement management, ensure all the requirements are determined, reviewed, verified, validated. You have to prove it. These are the minimum steps. But you have to ensure all these requirements are individually checked for clause by clause. This is what we use the word in railway business, CBC. Clause. The tender have a 20-page document. The contract have 10-page document. The agreement have so much of document. Each clause by clause, you have to review. We all know what is review. What is the definition of review? Already we have seen, right? How many of you are using credit cards? Tell me, how many of you are using credit cards? Can you please respond in the chat box? How many of you are using credit cards? Okay, how many of you are using postpaid mobile phones? Every month you get some bills. How many of you are having insurance policy? Have you seen the fine prints in those insurance policies? The fine prints in your credit card statements, the fine prints in your insurance or whatever the mobile phones, right? How many of you are seeing? If you go through this class by class, you will be get surprised. If you have a time, if you have free time, just try to have this fun. Take any one of your credit card bills or postpaid mobile bills, or even your own mutual fund insurance, whatever the documents you have. There is nothing but an agreement between you and them, right? Don't you think this class is applicable? If you do this class by class review, then most of the risks are in those fine prints. So that is why Iris made it very clear. You have to do a class by class review. And all these requirements needs to be evaluated and taken into account. What do you mean by evaluated and taken into account? So taken into account means we have said now 3 options. You have to accept and apply, or ask for what? Deviation, or ask for acceptance. Clear? Then for these requirements, is there any risk and opportunity that we have to assess and ensure each requirements are properly transferred to the relevant functions or suppliers if required, understood by them. They have to acknowledge that, okay, I have received a requirement from my customers. I have received a requirement related to the product. I have understood it. And it has to flow down. And you have to get a commitment from them. Okay, I will comply. I will include them in the process. So just like that, you cannot send a mail saying that requirement is communicated. Look at this, how beautifully I've written this. Each word is very critical here. You have to prove that all these requirements, functional requirements, non-functional requirements, integration requirements, project requirements, RAMs, LCC, there are a lot of requirements you have related to product. You have to prove that each requirement is transferred, understood, acknowledged, flow down, committed by the relevant involved person, and ensure all these requirements are complete, clear, concise, feasible, and any clarity is required. Again, you go back to our previous class, determine the requirement, right? Handle it accordingly, communicate with the customer, either get waiver or deviation. Everything should be documented. And this functional performance specification for technical requirements must be documented. You have to talk to your customer and clearly define it. Either your customer may give you, or as your design team, engineering team may give this. And you have to update in case of any change. Requirements. In requirements. Now tell me, your current requirement management process captures all these things? Can you please respond in the chat box? Your present requirement management procedure, so far what we discussed, is it captured? Okay, it may be captured. Are you complying it? Are you following it? Remember this word: transferred, understood, acknowledged, cascaded down, committed. This is very crucial. Then tender management, again, this is also part of this, right? So what tender management requirement is? It's a simple requirement, the standard. I'll try to put that in one page. The company must, again, you have a documented process for this to manage all your tenders. This tender management process includes what it includes. It includes requirement management. So far, what we did, type and extent of control, risk and opportunities, right? including monetary evaluation. That is very important because the tender always matters with the monetary evaluation activities. Type and extent of control. Some companies, you know how tenders works, right? L1, and there are some commercials highly involved, right? Where information security, it matters. So you have to keep a lot of information in confidential manner. You cannot disclose the price. So there are many organizations during tender, while responding to a tender, they have an internal process. So that will ensure there is no information leaks with respect to the pricings and all. So you should have your own procedures. And based on your previous experience with the tenders, organization knowledge takes a vital role. That is one of the important part of your tender management activity. Even for tender management alone, we can have a separate session. Since the requirement management also connect this, so that's why I just highlighted here few requirements. And you have to plan deliverables, costings, right? And what are the resources you need to execute the contract? When you say resource, it may be a supplier, it may be an internal resource, or it may be the resource you need at site for installation, for servicing, right? Till the life of the product you have to support, right? Consider that resource also. After this, only you have to approve. So look at this, how beautifully they've written. What is the sequence and order? This is the order and sequence. After doing everything, you have to approve the offer. And you have to keep record for this. And look at this. This is what I have tried to address in our previous session with respect to requirement management. You must define what are the competencies you need and what level of persons you are going to involve in this tender management process. This includes requirement management process. Right? So who is going to deal with the tender management? Who is going to deal with the requirement management? Ensure they are competent. You can involve top management, you can involve MR, you can involve anyone in the company. There is no restrictions, but your documented process should clearly say who are going to involve in this. And you have to clearly define their competencies. Their competencies should be tried to connect with whether they can able to understand the functional requirement, non-functional requirement, integration requirement, RAMS requirement, LCC requirement, costings, budgetary, monetary evaluation. So a lot of things are involved. Clear? So the standard management talks about 8.2 requirement management, type and extent of control, right? What controls you want to exercise during this tender management process based on the risk you have to do it. And what is the exact risk and opportunity in this tender? And what are the knowledge, organization knowledge process? What are the experience you have gained from your previous experience, previous tenders? What are the tender you got awarded? What are the tender you lost? What are the experience you have gained? Everything should be considered. And remember, consider while doing tender management, you have to clearly consider deliverables, costings, what are the resources you need. After this, only you have to approve. Clear? So this has the connection. Tender management is the implementation of all these classes. You have to implement this risk management activity, tender management activity, requirement, all put together. We call it as. Okay. So now tell me, what are the contract review checkpoints? Comes to your topics. I need not to go by each points. Topics. What are the topics you'd like to cover in your requirements management or contract review process? What are the topics? Can you name some broad level topics? What are the topics we can cover in the contract review? Because IRIS itself mandated few topics, right? One is functional requirement, the non-functional requirement, RAMS, LCC. In addition to that, you have regulatory requirements, QMS requirements you can consider. What else? I have listed few. Yeah, delivery requirements. Okay. Tell me what else you can include in your contract review? Risks, right? You can consider risks and opportunities. What else? Yeah, finance. That's very good. Costings. Okay, finance. Yeah. Come on. What else? If everyone types, there are 34 participant, 33 participant. If everyone types 1 point, you will get 33 points there. Yeah, packaging requirement. Very good. Then what else? Don't repeat. Regulatory requirement, right? Okay. Legal requirements. Very good. Resource needs. Okay. Payment terms. Okay. What else? Logistics. Okay. Marking identification. Very good, Mr. Mukunda. Right? Marking, packaging, LD class. Okay. Yes, obsolescence. Super. See, we got how beautiful team we have. Huh? Training requirements. When you have own design, when you do installation service, you have to train the team sometime, right? Inspection requirement, right? RDSCO, right? Very good. But sometimes rights inspection will be there. See how many points we are getting. No, you go back and relook your contract review point. Do we have all this point? Many time I'll get no. SQM, yes. Munuswamy clearly kept. Supplier quality requirement. Your customer may have their own quality requirement, right? Warranty, yes. Keep on adding. So how big your contract review checklist? It is not how big technically. What are the relevant point you want to consider? Is there any deviation? Is there any exemption? How to deal with the post-delivery activities after service? Record retention you can ask. Review mechanism you can ask, because some projects, some railway contract involves installation service, right? See how much requirements are coming. AMC contracts. Special process approval, right? Some customer have FAI. I'm trying to getting some of the critical words from the industry. FAI, right? FAI requirement. Someone said the CTQ already, right? Casey, how to deal with key characteristics. What else? What are the points we are missing here? Critical parts. Change management requirement, right? Whether I notify the change, I can do the change on my own. Very good. So that's it. This is your contract review checkpoint. So if you, so far what we discussed, if you are having it, then you have a very beautiful requirement management process. Just because standard says, I should have this requirement management process, what is the benefit? A lot of benefit you could see. See, properly addressing these requirements management, it pays off quickly. You can reduce your development life cycle, because most of the requirements you got very clear information with you, right? On-time delivery, you can assure. Your team productivity will be increased, because every information is readily reviewed initial stage, right? You need not to, two-way communication. Very good. It reduces reworks and conflicts, right? Because you are very clear with all the requirements. You cannot wrongly interpret. You cannot incorrectly apply those requirements. Cost saving, a lot of benefits we could see in this particular whole contract review process, if you have an effective requirement management process. So there are even product related requirements, business related requirements, service related requirements, a lot of things we can consider here. RAM specific efficiency, effectiveness, MTTR, MTBF, all those things you try to discuss. Design team have a lot of advantage here. If you are doing R&D, systems in design and development, at this stage, requirement management itself, you can have a lot of clarity. What are the requirements? Supply chain, I have to control. What of the control I should have on supply chain? QMS requirement, I should have IRIS or not. Everything you could ask. Yeah, someone have beautifully added change management also. So you clearly verify at this stage whether technical informations are there, drawings are there, which standard I have to follow, which version I have to follow. In somewhere, some drawing, they have referred to old standard version. That standard may not applicable. So this is directly connected with obsolescence management. Correct? Regulatory approval is there. You could ask them. Capacity, capability requirement, you can ask them. So many requirements your customer may not state. It is your responsibility to ask based on your risks, based on your organizational knowledge. How to deal with customer complaint, you can ask. So a lot of things you can ask. Is there any format I should follow? Approval is required. Yes, certification is required. So based on your organization product, based on the complexity, based on the person competencies, that is important, and based on the consultant, like if we are people, if you are using people like us, we'll add some value addition. The right person is you are the right person, but we try to guide you. Okay, this is what it is. Okay, so that's what all about requirements management. So now the session is open for Q&A. Before moving to Q&A, what I would like to do is, now I'll be sharing a small link to you. Then I'll allow you to unmute your mic. Then we can discuss so that we can achieve our training objective. So I have seen some of my clients are attending this session. Those who are already certified, they are in the process of getting certification. There is no defined, this is the best contract review process, this is the best requirement. There is no such thing. It's a continual improvement, right? You all know you can keep on improve based on the organizational knowledge, learnings. So let's look at this form, what I have shared now. There is some feedback form I have shared about this training. So I request all people, please respond this. Then we will move to Q&A. Then we have a post training questions, right? So let's try to attempt this. The link is working. Can anyone confirm this to me, please? The link is working. Yeah. Yeah. Again, Ms. Meenakshi, your IT system doesn't allow you to access this Google form. For others, it's working. Fine. So I'll give you a few minutes. Try to just finish this. Once I receive 50% participant response, then I'll move to Q&A session. Yeah, no issues, Mr. Venkatesh. If you have no access, don't worry. Maybe I'll usually what I'll do is after my training, I'll take some of the screenshots and share it in my social media page. There you can give feedback if you want. No issues. If you cannot able to access now,